Imagine the rolling, windswept hills of medieval England, draped in a thick mantle of frost, where the horizon melts into a blur of white under the pale winter sun. Across this desolate landscape moves a solitary figure, his form wrapped in layers. Of course, Will, trudging slowly through snowdrifts with a staff in hand. This is no ordinary man. He is a shepherd, one whose life is inseparable from the rhythm of nature, whose days and nights are measured not by bells or clocks, but by the movement of clouds, the behavior of the flock, and the merciless progression of the seasons. Unlike the peasants of the village, who find shelter in hearth-warmed cottages with thatched roofs in the company of kin, he is exposed to the raw, unforgiving elements. His home is the open hill, his walls the windbreaks of stone and sod, and his companions are a handful of faithful sheep, and the ever-watchful dog by his side. Winter is not merely a season for this man, it is a relentless adversary, an unyielding test of endurance and ingenuity. The winds bite with a ferocity that turns flesh raw. The snow conceals hazards beneath its frozen crust, and the temperature drops to such depths that every movement becomes laborious, every breath a sharp reminder of mortality. Survival demands knowledge honed over decades, handed down through generations. The location of edible roots beneath the snow, the best places to shelter from the northern gusts, the subtle signs in cloud formation that predict sudden blizzards, and the instinctive understanding of the herd's behavior that allows him to anticipate disaster before it strikes. The shepherd's shelter is a masterclass in the art of survival with minimal resources, constructed from whatever the surrounding landscape provides: turf, stone, heather, twigs. It is often partially dug into the earth to leverage the natural warmth of the soil. The walls, a patchwork of sod and stone carefully fitted, are insulated with moss and earth, leaving gaps imperceptible to the wind. The roof, heavy with turf or reed, supports a framework of twigs, sometimes driftwood, under which grass might eventually grow, blending the hut seamlessly into the hills. Inside, space is minimal: a small hearth for fire, a bedding of twigs and sheepskin, room just enough for the shepherd, his dog, and occasionally a few newborn lambs rescued from the cold. The air is thick with the mingled scents of damp earth, peat smoke, sheep, and the faithful dog, a sensory reminder of life persisting against the harsh world outside. In this confined space, the shepherd is not merely sheltered from the elements, he is part of the earth itself, intimately connected to the landscape that sustains him. The true genius of the shepherd's winter life lies not in architecture alone, but in the symbiotic relationship with his flock. In winter, hundreds of sheep form a living wall against the wind, pressing together in dense formations that generate remarkable warmth. Their collective body heat transforms the corral into a microclimate, far warmer than the biting air outside. The shepherd, often positioned just behind this living barrier, absorbs this warmth, shielded from the worst gusts. Nights are spent alongside the huddling flock, the gentle rustle of wool and the soft inhalations of hundreds of animals, a lullaby of life amidst the cold silence of winter. But this intimacy carries risks. Sudden panic among the sheep can be deadly. Diseases such as sheeppox or hoof rot can spread rapidly, and overcrowding demands constant vigilance. The shepherd's survival hinges upon his attentiveness, his ability to interpret every movement, every sound, as a signal demanding immediate response. Fire is another indispensable ally in this struggle. Unlike a peasant's hearth, the shepherd's fire is small, carefully controlled, and fiercely protected. He must contend with snow-laden ground, damp wood, and the relentless wind, relying on flints, dried mushrooms, and charred cloth to ignite the precious flames. Fuel is scarce: heather, thorny shrubs, driftwood, peat, and, most ingeniously, dried sheep dung, harvested and stored during warmer months, provide the means to maintain life-giving warmth. Fires are often dug into the ground or protected by stone and turf barriers, and smoldering embers are carefully covered with ash to endure the night without wasting precious resources. The fire is both practical and symbolic, a source of warmth, light, and psychological comfort, a barrier against the vast, indifferent wilderness surrounding him. Clothing functions as a mobile fortress. Heavy woolen cloaks, often untreated, retain the natural lanolin, repel rain and snow, while layered tunics, linen shirts, woolen leggings, thick mittens, and leather boots, treated with animal fat, create a cocoon of warmth and protection. Every stitch, every layer is intentional, born of necessity and deep knowledge passed down through generations. Even his shepherd's staff serves as part of this survival system, a support for walking and a framework for an impromptu windbreak. The shepherd's appearance, rough and dark against the white hills, is practical and camouflaged, allowing him to blend into the environment and avoid drawing attention from predators or hostile humans. Daily life in this harsh expanse is a meticulous choreography of movement, observation, and care. The shepherd rises with the sun, inspecting the flock for signs of illness, injury, or predation. He feeds the animals with hay, roots, and stored provisions, while constantly scanning the landscape for the approach of wolves, foxes, or other threats. Water is located from streams, melted snow, or hidden springs, always prioritized to prevent dehydration. Meals for the shepherd are modest: hard barley or rye bread, preserved cheese, occasionally salted meat, and porridge cooked over the carefully maintained fire. Every morsel is both sustenance and strategy, allowing him to maintain energy for long hours in sub-zero conditions. As winter deepens, the landscape becomes increasingly treacherous. Blizzards can reduce visibility to a few feet, temperatures drop to life-threatening extremes, and ice makes movement perilous. In these times, the shepherd's experience is vital. He knows where to shelter, how to utilize terrain features for protection, and how to manage both his own body temperature and that of the flock. Nights are long, filled with constant vigilance, listening for the slightest sound that might indicate danger: a predator approaching, a sheep in distress, or the subtle shifts of weather signaling a storm's advance. Solitude, though harsh, becomes a source of inner strength. The shepherd develops acute senses, patience, and a profound understanding of the natural world. The transition from winter to spring brings both relief and new challenges. The lambing season begins, demanding near constant attention. The shepherd becomes a midwife to the flock, assisting in difficult births, warming and nursing weak lambs, and ensuring that mothers accept and feed their young. Every life saved is a testament to skill and endurance. Every loss a tragedy with tangible consequences. The thawing landscape brings waterlogged pastures, sudden frosts, and the threat of new predators emerging from winter dens. The shepherd must adapt continuously, balancing care for the flock with his own survival, navigating the terrain with the same intimate knowledge that carried him through the bitterest months. Throughout all these trials, his dog remains an indispensable companion, alert and intelligent. The dog assists in herding, guards against predators, and provides vital companionship against the psychological strain of isolation. The bond between man and dog is profound, a partnership forged through shared adversity and mutual dependence. Conversations with this loyal creature break the silence of endless hills, and the warmth of its body beside him during frigid nights is a comfort beyond measure. Every skill, every decision, and every action taken by the medieval shepherd is a testament to human ingenuity and resilience. His existence is a careful negotiation with nature, a continuous balancing act between risk and reward, and a demonstration of profound adaptation. Shelter, fire, clothing, food, and companionship are all intertwined in a complex survival system honed over centuries. The shepherd's life illustrates that survival is not merely a matter of resources, but of understanding, intuition, and the unyielding will to endure. The medieval shepherd emerges from this narrative not as a mere figure of pastoral romanticism, but as a master of survival, an individual whose life demanded courage, foresight, and wisdom. The seemingly mundane tasks, building a hut, tending a fire, guiding a flock, layering clothing, become heroic acts of endurance and skill when viewed against the backdrop of a merciless winter. His story is a reminder that human resilience is not solely measured by feats of strength or the accumulation of wealth, but by the capacity to adapt, endure, and thrive in harmony with the natural world. As we reflect on this existence, we understand that the shepherd's winter is not simply a season to be survived, but a crucible in which patience, knowledge, and perseverance are tested to their limits. Every frostbitten dawn, every howling night wind, every careful tending of a newborn lamb, and every night spent beside a smoldering hearth is part of a grand narrative of survival, ingenuity, and intimate connection with the earth. His life, though solitary and harsh, is deeply intertwined with the rhythms of nature, revealing lessons of endurance, humility, and the quiet dignity of labor. In studying the medieval shepherd, we are reminded that the human story is not only about kings and castles, but also about those who lived at the margins, whose daily existence was a delicate dance with the elements. Their wisdom, developed over generations and born of necessity, offers insights into the timeless principles of survival, observation, preparation, adaptation, and resilience. In the frozen hills of England, amidst the snow and the wind, the medieval shepherd survives not through grandeur or might, but through knowledge, skill, and an enduring spirit. The narrative of the medieval shepherd stands as a testament to human endurance, a vivid illustration of life lived in harmony with both adversity and nature. Each layer of wool, each careful placement of stones in a windbreak, each vigil kept through a storm, and every breath of cold winter air overcome through ingenuity, forms a story of quiet heroism. His tale challenges us to recognize that survival is as much an art as it is a necessity, a practice of patience, resilience, and unbroken connection to the world that sustains us through this lens. We see that the shepherd's winter is not merely a season but a theater of human skill and adaptation. The frozen landscape becomes a canvas on which every choice and every action is meaningful, every decision a thread in the intricate tapestry of survival. By studying his experience, we gain not only an appreciation of historical pastoral life, but also a profound understanding of the timeless principles that enable humans to endure and thrive against the harshest of odds.